Allô?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. We're just going to give people another minute or so to join, and then we'll kick off. Okay, hi everyone, and welcome. My name's Chris. I'm the manager at SkillSource, and this is a short, informal conversation about your CVs and other bits and pieces around your presentation as either a candidate for permanent hire or for contracting work. So I think what we'll do is we'll just start by quickly introducing the four of us who are on the call. So as I just said, I'm Chris. I look after Innovate SkillSource. We're a recruitment and resourcing firm based here in County Wexford. With me here actually in the office today is Darlene. So she is our contracts coordinator and is also our main talent acquisition resourcing specialist. And Katie Walsh is part of our team as well. She looks after marketing and sales, supports our team, and is kind of our communications expert, for want of a better term. Lastly, we've Lorna McGuinness joining us from Finero. Finero is an umbrella company and she can tell you more about that later. And she has some more details for you on the contracting side of the business. So what we're going to do is we're just going to talk really briefly about kind of each of the four things that we wanted to talk about today. We're going to keep it really short, and then we have some questions that have already been submitted that we will go into, and we can go from there. And if anyone on the call has any questions, they can still go back to the question form if they want to submit anything. So look, let's start with the really basic of CVs. So you can imagine as recruiters, we see a lot of CVs every day, and you'll be surprised just how different they can be. And really, the basic is keep it simple. Um, I know people love to format their CVs and do all sorts of things with their CVs, but most of us are dealing with application tracking systems now that are perusing these CVs, importing these CVs into the systems. And the more formatting and changes and things that you do, the harder it becomes from us. If you put your name and your email address as an image at the top of the CV, the ATS can't read it, and automatic emails confirming that we've received it, or asking your consent for using your data, all of a sudden aren't going out, and you end up sitting in a queue somewhere, as opposed to us being able to manage your actual application. So really simple do's and don'ts. Just go really from 2 to 3 pages is still absolutely perfect for most roles. 1 page even works if you're at the beginning of your career, and that's all there is. Tailor your job CV to the job description is really straightforward. Everyone should know this by now. And look, we know everyone's doing it. ChatGPT and other AI, it can be used to help you do that. Don't let it write your CV because it makes mistakes. But you can put the job description in, put the CV in, and ask it for advice on maybe how to tailor the CV. But please do the work yourself. Nice clean layout, consistent fonts, no bad spelling. Make sure you have a summary profile at the top so that it's easy to see what your skills are and who you are. Talk about achievement, not duties. There's nothing like getting a CV and basically you can see someone just took the job description from their last job and pasted it into the CV. That's no use to us. What we want to hear is, what did you achieve? What did you do? Before I was in recruitment, I was in sales. My CV always was tailored towards, this was my sales target. This is what I achieved. Not I made sales calls. The other pieces would be, because we are very much looking at application tracking systems these days. Now, personally in SkillSource, we still put actual human eyeballs in every CV that comes in, every single one of them. But they do get ranked by the ATS. And the more that you include keywords from the job spec in your actual CV when you're sending it in, the higher your ranking is going to be. Okay? Spelling and grammar we've talked about. Make sure you've got the right certifications on. Reverse chronology, I don't want to see 1999 at the top of your CV and have to go 4 pages in to find out what you did last year. Believe it or not, it still happens all the time. And make sure that we have contact details on your CV, or we end up having to dig into Indeed or somewhere else to find a way to contact you. Just please give us your email and your phone number. That's kind of it. The don'ts, I'm not really going to go into them. We will share all this information at the end so that people can read through it on your own. But the don'ts are pretty much the opposite of the do's. So, that's really all we have to say about that. Now, we've had a few questions in, and we'll answer those in the Q&A at the end of this very short presentation. So look, I'm going to hand over to Katie and to Darlene, who are just going to talk to you very briefly about the basics of a LinkedIn profile.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks very much. So as a recruiter, we find LinkedIn a very important sourcing tool. So when we're looking for candidates across roles, we would first of all go to LinkedIn. We would see who was open to work, and we would reach out from LinkedIn. So the importance of your profile, we have a little example here of a profile. So this is a person who wants to be an IT graduate. You want a graduate program. Do you want to work in Innovator with us? So they have listed themselves as an IT support intern. They have put a nice, clear, professional photograph. I think this is very important. Your photograph represents you, and I like that. So the person has listed himself as open to work. So when I'm sourcing, I know this person is someone who I can contact. They have put themselves down for server support engineer, And they've also listed information technology specialist in their job titles and which they'd like to work in. In the location section, they have included on-site or hybrid, as that's what they'd like, and they'd like to work in Ireland. They've also put a start date as immediately, and their employment type, so it'd be full-time work or as a contractor. So it's really important, as I say, to have a clear, what is it, headshot. That's very important. In your about section, if you could spend a little bit of time, what is it, explaining what skills you have. It doesn't have to be any more than a couple of sentences, but you're really selling yourself. So you are, and make sure that you add keywords for the industry that you work within. So I'd like to hand over to Katie now.
Thanks, Darlene. Yeah, so the best way to kind of view LinkedIn is that it is like a living, breathing CV. So it's pretty much your own personal brand. It's how you present yourself to recruiters and how you want to present yourself as you're applying for jobs. So it is important to kind of hit all those points of, make sure everything is complete, fill in your experience and your education, but don't be afraid as well to really shout about those achievements. If you receive an accreditation in something, such as a certificate that you might have completed with Microsoft or Cisco, or even your results from your college degree, anything, just make sure that that is included. You can also customize your URL. So when you are sharing your URL on job applications, or if you're sharing it with other recruiters, you can actually make sure that your name is included at the end of the URL. Um, the more skills that you add and the more endorsements that you add about yourself, the more likely that you're going to be more attractive to recruiters, essentially, especially if you do have that little open to work symbol up and running on your profile also. Um, LinkedIn is great as well. You can actually request recommendations from your peers, as well as any colleagues, if you have any lecturers, or even just people that you might have worked with in the past. And they can kind of vouch for you on a skill that you may have put, and they can put a little note just along with that recommendation. It is important, very much like your CV, that you do keep your LinkedIn up to date. Again, if there is information going back as far as 1999, it's not going to be as easily accessible as if you were to put, it's something that you might have achieved this year or the year previous. It is important, though, to remember that LinkedIn is a professional platform. It is a marketing and sales tool. So, of course, you're going to have companies that are posting any updates or social media that they may have on that. But likewise, you are going to have recruiters looking at your profile. And when you do join the workplace, you're also going to have your colleagues and your higher ups looking at your profile also. It is just really important that you do make sure that it's up to date, make sure all your skills and accreditations are on there. Um, Remember that it is professional, so make sure that the headshot that you use, maybe if you get a professional headshot from your job or a really, really nice one, I wouldn't go using ones from student nights out, most definitely. So yeah, just keep it up to date, make sure everything's written attractively. Again, like it is a CV, make sure there's proper grammar. Um, which I just LinkedIn, it is a really, really useful tool. I know myself when I came out of college, in the second year, we were all advised make sure that you do have a LinkedIn account up and running, build those connections. People, it is a connection tool. You want to be seen networking and engaging with other people's posts. So you can connect strategically, of course, so you can connect with people within your industry. So as a marketer, I do tend to follow and connect and engage with other marketers, but I'm also a marketer in the IT industry. So you'll see a lot of IT engineers and IT specialists there also. You can actually personalize your connection request as well. So if there's someone that you really like to connect with, you can hit the connect button on their profile, but you can also leave a little personalized note just saying, hi, looking forward to engaging with your posts. Make sure you're posting regularly. So like with your keeping your skills and accreditations up to date, there's no harm if you attend an important event or if you've achieved a really good grade in one of your modules that you post and you shout about that. That's exactly what it's there for. Engaging with others also, like with Facebook and Instagram and any other social media, the more you engage, the higher up you're going to be in the algorithm. and you're more likely to be seen by recruiters. Don't be afraid to join groups. So you can join industry specific groups, or you can join groups even if you have your own personal interests. It's a great way for meeting people. And just follow companies and influencers. You never know, one of those companies that you follow might end up being a company that you end up working for in the future. But yeah, that's pretty much the basics of LinkedIn. We will be sharing more information, as we've said, following on, and we'll also be answering some questions that have come in also. Now, I'll pop you on to Lorna then, who's going to discuss contracting.
So when you're contract working, you are only contracted for a fixed period of time. So the differences between a permanent role and a contracting role is you have a contract of services, which is a permanent role. It only has a start date. Then you have a contract for services, which has a start and an end date. Contract workers typically are short term, some can be long term, but they're normally around the 3-month to 12-month mark. You're paid a daily or hourly rate as opposed to a salary. So you're only paid for the days that you're physically working. If you're not working that day, you're not paid for that day. So that's why the likes of annual leave, bank holidays, sick leave, none of those are paid, which is why we see an increase in daily rates compared to permanent roles. So normally we're kind of looking at between 15 to 25% increase compared to what your permanent role would be to make up for that. And then you have a lot of flexibility with contracting roles in that you get to choose the type of contracts you take on. They're normally for very skilled individuals coming in for just projects, but we are seeing more so with trends at the moment, people coming straight out of college, going into contract work, gaining that experience, and then going into a permanent role following on from that. There's another slide there, isn't there? Yeah, perfect. So as I said, higher earning potential through your daily rates. You have the flexibility in selecting the projects and the clients that you go in with. You have more control over your schedule and the work-life balance. So for example, if you're, say, just coming back into work after being on maternity leave, you don't want to be in the office full time, you need flexible hours, contracting can be a great way to enter into, or to re-enter into a workforce, in that you can choose your hours in some contracting roles. It's a lot more flexible, a lot more kind of working from home allowances as well, and then loads of opportunity to expand your skills across multiple industries if you so wish. So there are 2 ways that are the most common in contract working in Ireland. So you do need to be a part of a limited company structure when you're entering into contracting work, typically if you're being hired through a recruitment agency in particular. So that's either in the use of an umbrella company, which is simply a company that already exists, that issues the invoices for the work that you do, and then processes your salary payments. Or else, if you're kind of more a long-term contractor, or you want to be a long-term contractor, so we're looking 3 years plus, then I would be recommending the use of a limited company structure. It's the most tax efficient way of operating if you're contract working in Ireland. But as I said, it is for those who are long-term contractors, as opposed to the umbrella company, which is really handy for those who are maybe just dipping their toes into contracting, or only want a short-term contract, or need the whole experience, or just want very limited paperwork.
Right, thanks, Lorna. And I can see we have a couple of questions here on contracting as well, so we'll come back to those. Look, just to round off the fourth piece on this, which is about visas and work. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying we are not a visa consultancy company. We just happen to deal with a lot of people who are looking for permanent or for contract work. So we have some knowledge, which is as much as we can share at the moment. And again, if there's more questions, or if after this people have questions, they can reach out to me or to Darlene or to Finero, to Lorna as well through LinkedIn. That would be an easy way. So when it comes to permanent hires or contracting, we have to follow the guidelines around the different stamps that people are on with regards to visas. Currently within Ireland, it's most easy. Now, I'm not going to worry about the 1A or the 2A, because they're very limited and they're about accountancy. We tend to deal with candidates who are either on a Stamp 1, a Stamp 1G, or a stamp 4. After that, once they get onto a stamp 5 or a stamp 6, it's not really a thing. People talk about either being, a resident or a citizen or whatever, and it doesn't really get referred to as a stamp anymore. A lot of clients who are hiring do not understand the visa system at all, and we end up having to explain it to them. So we, on a permanent roles, hire regularly people who are on a stamp 1G because they're open to work for a limited period with any employer. We sometimes hire on a stamp 2, but it's limited by it being part-time work because they're a student. Most clients that work through us are looking for candidates that are on a stamp 4 or already an EU citizen or an Irish resident. And we actually have to explain to them the benefits of hiring maybe on a stamp 1 through using maybe something like the critical skills employment permit, the CSEP, or hiring on a stamp 1G, that there's actually no disadvantage to doing so. It's still an educational process. Really quickly, the CSEP, we learned just in the last couple of days, so the salary threshold for it was around the 38,000 mark this year. If I remember correctly, from 2026, that's going up to just under 41,000. So I have it as 41,000 in my head, is the starting salary for anyone who is looking for critical skills. And it's 64,000 plus for any other high skill roles that are not on the critical skills list. Now they are introducing something new in 2026, which is a critical skills graduate permit. The salary on that is lower. If I remember correctly, it's in 36,000 something. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head. This literally only came in the last couple of days. But again, that means that if you're a recent graduate, graduated within the last 12 months, and you are looking to stay in Ireland on a critical skills employment permit, you don't have to immediately start on the higher 41,000 salary. There's a 36 and a something. Again, the numbers will become very easily available in the coming days that you can look at instead. We've hired internally on critical skills. We've helped clients hire on critical skills. It's not a difficult process. It's a great way to bring people into your business that have the skills that you need. I know around contracting, Lorna, it's a little bit different. We've signed up contractors with you who are on a stamp 1G and on a stamp 4. We've tried hiring contractors who are on a stamp 2, but it was a bit too restrictive. I don't know if you want to jump in and just clarify from your end.
Yeah, so if you're on a stamp 2 in particular, so you're on a student visa, you're able to work part-time for the duration of the school year, so up to 20 hours per week. And then during your school holidays, so whether it be Christmas, midterm, summer, you're able to work your full-time hours. But they're very, very strict revenue on that. So if you do go over the 20, then you could be seen in breach. So it's very, very important to stay within that. And then when it comes to stamp 1 critical skills, you can't contract work at this time in Ireland, unfortunately, unless you're sponsored by the government, which is quite rare, to be honest.
And so it's really the 1G and the stamp 4 that we've had contracting through you with a couple of our clients, I think.
That's right, yeah. So under stamp 1G, you just have to be seen as an employee. So you can go under our umbrella PAYE option. And then on stamp 4, you're open to work as a self-employed individual or a PAYE. So it's entirely up to yourself whether you set up your own company, get set up under umbrella PAYE or director.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. So look, we'll just wrap up with some questions then. I think Katie has the list. Now, some of these questions were already answered in our presentations, but we'll go through them really quickly anyway.
Brilliant. Yeah, so we'll just rehash them just to make sure it's all nice and summarized at the end. So the first question that came in was actually one of the most asked questions. What's the ideal length for a CV?
So yeah, I think as I said earlier, try and keep it to about 2 pages maximum. Make sure you focus on the relevant experience and kind of measurable results don't waffle is really, yeah.
Brilliant. In my CV, should I include hobbies or interests?
So when I started my career, which was quite some time ago, at this stage, hobbies and interests were always on CVs. But Darlene, you look at least as many CVs as I do. Don't really see it that much anymore. It seems to be falling away. I think it's only important. Like we used to be told, make sure you put a team sport on the CV because it shows you're a team player. These are the type of things that I don't think we're seeing anymore.
No, we don't, Chris. No, not so popular anymore.
How do I tailor my CV for different roles?
As mentioned earlier, the easiest is try and match your CV a little bit to the job spec. Now, that doesn't mean lie, okay? But it does mean, try and match your wording a little bit. If you have certain skills or you've done certain things and they're mentioned in the job spec, make sure they're mentioned on the CV. The closer your CV matches the requirements on the job spec, the quicker you're going to be seen. There's a lot of agencies or recruiters or companies working recruitment that have a semi-automated process now. It's really frustrating. I spoke to a friend recently who applied at 3 a.m. on a Sunday and got a rejection within 5 minutes. So, I mean, face it, that was not seen by a person. But, so the closer you can match, the better.
How many jobs should I apply for at once?
Oh, apply for the ones you really want. Sorry, my mic button when it was acting up. If that's 5 jobs or
Can I just interject there, Chris, while you're getting that? So yes, apply for about 5 jobs. Make sure that they're jobs you really want to work within and they're within the industry that you actually want to work in.
Brilliant. Do cover letters still matter? Was a question asked quite a bit as well.
And I am live. Yeah, they do still, particularly for certain roles. Now, look, if you're a graduate and it's an entry-level role, people aren't looking at them as much. If it's a more specialized role and you can use the cover letter to prove the experience, as opposed to us having to look through the CV to find it. If there's a note, it doesn't have to be long, but if you're applying for something and your cover letter goes, I've just done this for the last 4 years and this is what I achieved, it's going to make it a lot more relevant to us and you're going to be noticed a lot quicker.
How often should I be updating my CV?
Constantly. I mean, when you get a new job, update your CV, have it ready. Why not? I'm not going anywhere, but my CV is up to date. It just makes common sense to keep your files. And also, if you're getting accreditations and such, put them on your CV when you get them so you remember. So 2 years from now, if you suddenly decide to change jobs, you're not trying to think through what you did 2 years ago.
Would you say that it's worth doing additional certifications and accreditations?
If they're relevant to the roles that you are in or the roles that you are looking to achieve. If you have a certain career path that you want to follow and these accreditations are important, yes, do them and shout about them on your CV.
And the last CV related question was, how do I switch careers without experience?
Okay, so this is about transferable skills and it's very much also about the soft skills. As anyone in this office will know, I'm on my 3rd career. Anyone can do it. You just need to take your skills with you and show on your CV, even if a job that you did previously isn't relevant from the same sector, you might still have been achieving things within that job or using skills within that job that are relevant. And they're what you have to highlight on your CV.
Brilliant, thank you. We have LinkedIn questions next. So I know we kind of touched on it, but just to, I suppose, summarize it, what makes a LinkedIn profile stand out?
Profile, Katie, actually is a very clear profile with a nice professional photograph, as you had mentioned. All your certifications, similar to Chris had mentioned, any certification, any endorsements, any further learning, put them on, any, words that would for an IT support role that you worked in IT, because our ATS systems do use algorithms also. So yeah, anything like that, Katie, it's very, as you say, it's your professional CV online.
Brilliant. I suppose a good follow-up to that one then, would you say that people should be posting content on LinkedIn?
I do. I think people should definitely post at least once a week. It keeps them, is it relevant? It keeps their posts seen as well. But as long as their posts are within a professional line, because that is what you should do.
Brilliant. Next one on to that then. Do recruiters actually check LinkedIn?
All the time. All the time. It's our biggest sourcing tool. So if we are looking for someone again in the IT sector, we will actually put those keywords into LinkedIn, search for people, and yes, we do. And it's very important. Chris, do you want to add something?
Could I just interject there really quickly? Yeah, because we're talking about LinkedIn. So the open to work banner on LinkedIn, you'll hear a lot of people actually on LinkedIn going, "Oh, don't put that banner up. You know, it makes you look bad." No, it makes you look available. If we get a sudden need for, and let's say it's a short-term contractor, which we do quite a few of, and we're looking for someone in Dublin or somewhere that has this skill set or has this background. If we go to LinkedIn first, which we often do, the first thing we're going to do is scroll through the profile photos and look for the open to work banner. It matters. It really works. So, and only once we've exhausted those do we start looking for other people. So please do use the open to work banner if you're open to work. There is nothing wrong with it. Secondly, just really quickly to wrap up between visas and LinkedIn, please make sure, CVs and LinkedIn, please make sure your CV and your LinkedIn match. We look at your CV, we go to your LinkedIn profile, and it's different. That's a huge red flag, and we do not go further with your application. And you'll be surprised how often it happens. People might adjust their CV a little bit, but forget that they still have all their information on LinkedIn. So, you know, tell the truth in both places, please. Sorry, I'll shut up again.
And I'd also just like to say, just for the relevance of LinkedIn and her profiles, that's actually how we found Katie. We sourced Katie through LinkedIn, and it was a very good find.
Thank you, Darlene. A follow-up question to that. Should I be connecting with recruiters on LinkedIn?
Absolutely, you should. Within, again, the industry that you want to work in and companies that you would like to work for, definitely link in with talent acquisition and HRs in those companies.
Brilliant. Just before we go on to the next question, just a reminder, anyone who is within the webinar themselves, if they do have any questions that they would like asked, please don't hesitate in popping it in the chat box there. We do have that open there beside us also. The next question following on from that then, how often should I be posting on LinkedIn?
I think once a week is enough to keep you, is it relevant and visible?
Brilliant. I might actually interject on that one myself there. Just something I've noticed with LinkedIn also. When you are posting, if you are posting pictures or if you're at an event and there's other people in it that you're attending with, or if you're attending on behalf of your company or your college, be sure to tag them. So if I'm at any event on behalf of Innovator Skill Source, I tag both. If I'm with Chris and Darlene at the event, I tag both. It's just a great way to get engagement on your post, as well as again bringing yourself up in the algorithm. You're going to be seen on more timelines, and you're going to be seen on their followers and their connections timelines as well. So it's also a great networking tool. And then just the last LinkedIn related question then was, do endorsements matter?
They help, but I don't think they're the most important thing. I think recommendations are definitely much better. And as you say earlier, referrals and stuff like that, you can ask people for referrals and stuff on LinkedIn. Yes, endorsements do look good, but they're not easy to get all the time.
Brilliant, thank you. The visa section then next. So one of the main questions here is, can I work in Ireland without a work permit?
Did I just mute myself? No, I'm here now. Sorry, my mute button is being very slow today. Can you work? It depends where you're from. So EU, Switzerland, UK can all work in Ireland. Outside of that, you need a work permit.
Brilliant. Short and sweet. How long would you say it takes to get a work permit?
The last few times that we went to get a stamp one, it took about 6 to 8 weeks.
Brilliant. On a work permit, can I bring family over?
I think in most cases, yes. We've also had people who come over, I think, on the critical skills, and then their spouse gets, if anyone knows better, correct me if I'm wrong, but their spouse gets the spousal 1G, and they're also allowed to work. So generally, yes, but just check specific permit types.
And the last visa-related question, is on-site work only permitted, or can remote work and hybrid work also be completed on an Irish work permit?
Yeah, as long as you're in Ireland, it's up to the company policy. So whether you're working remotely or on site, doesn't matter. But you know, to be on and you can correct me, Lorna, on the contracting side if I'm wrong, but to be registered as an Irish contractor or as an Irish employee, you need a work permit and be in Ireland.
You are correct in saying that, Chris. Yes.
Brilliant. So that's the last of the visa questions. We're just on to the last section of questions there now, and they are all in relation to contracting. So the first question, again, this is just a summarized question. What's the main difference between contracting and permanent roles?
Yeah, so I think I touched on that earlier. So with permanent roles, you have a contract of service. So it only has a start date with no end date. With a contracting role, then you have a contract for services, which has a start and an end date. So it's more project-based work, higher day rates, but you don't have any benefits such as annual leave, say healthcare, pension, etc.
Brilliant. Do I need a limited company to contract?
In most cases, yes, it would be very rare cases that you wouldn't. But the type of limited company can either be that of an umbrella, which is the one that's already in existence. So it eliminates the need to set up your own company, particularly if you're starting your contracting role short term. So if you're, say, starting in the next week to a month, you're not going to have a limited company set up in time anyway, since it takes between 6 to 8 weeks to have one set up. But yes, you would need to operate through a limited company, either the umbrella or your own.
Brilliant. How do I go about setting my day rate as a contractor?
So you are going to be looking at between a 15 to 25% uplift of what you're currently on in your permanent role. Now, we do have calculators that compare permanent roles to contracting roles as well here in Finero. So if anybody is looking at entering into contracting and kind of wants to see what they should set their day rate as, or kind of what the going rate is for their particular sector, feel free to reach out to me and we can have a chat around that.
And the last question there is, do contractors get paid holidays?
No, unfortunately, you do not. But that's why your rate is going to be significantly higher than that of a permanent position, because it's going to make up for those, say, 20 to 25 days annual leave per year. You have the increased flexibility. And then particularly if you're operating through your own limited company, you have much better tax breaks and stuff with that. So you are still making a saving long term.
Brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, that's all the questions that have come in there. Oh, there's one after coming up. Sorry that they're a bit lagging on my side. Are you able to full-time work and contract at the same time?
So yes, you can. So neither employers need to know anything about each other. It is just important to remember that your tax credits are only going to be assigned to one of your employments. Typically, it would be the permanent role. So you are going to be in the higher tax bracket or the month one tax bracket for your contracting position. Now, when it comes to your income tax return at the end of the year, it normally balances out and whatever you have overpaid in tax. But just to keep that in mind, maybe short term, it's not going to look hugely positive in terms of kind of what your take home pay is going to be for the additional role, but long term it will.
Brilliant, thank you. I just see another question after coming in there, just to see the typical differences between CVs in South Africa and Ireland. I'm sure we'd be able to share a template of what a CV, a standard Irish CV looks like, following on. Usually though, would you like to run through the quick?
Yeah, just really quickly on this one, because we've actually done a lot of sourcing in South Africa for various roles in IT and engineering and others. And there is definitely a difference. Now, I've seen through South Africa and Ireland Facebook pages that There's even people who are offering to rewrite your CV for you. It's not necessary. What you really need to do is just cut it down. South African CVs tend to be quite long. 7, 8 pages I've seen, and I'm smiling because that's just not what we do here. But so really it's about, and we'll add a very basic CV template to what we send out after this in the next couple of days. But it's about keeping your information in a more concise format. That's really all it comes down to.
Brilliant, thank you. If anyone has any more questions there, please do feel free to pop them in. In the meantime, though, just a reminder, following on from the webinar, there will be collateral, so there'll be slides with additional information shared. We can also share CV templates, but if there is anything in that questions that have been raised, or if there's anything in particular that you're looking for that you might not think of until after the webinar, please feel free to reach out to myself, Darlene, Chris, or Lorna. We'll be happy to pass all that information on. I don't see any other questions coming through there. Do you want to pop on to the slide?
Yeah, look, I'll just wrap things up and just thank everyone. Just a really quick one. I just want to mention, look, we've done a lot of work with Lorna and the team in Finero over the last few years. We know there's other umbrella companies out there, but we also know that when we suddenly need to hire a contractor in a hurry, they literally get people signed up and good to go like within a day. We'll sometimes get a request from a client on a Monday or a Tuesday saying we need this. Darlene will do her magic and we'll have someone lined up and approved by Thursday, and then we'll send that over. We'll put them in touch with the team in Finero, and by Friday they're all signed up and good to go and actually starting a job on Monday. So, just something to do. These are a number of the different types of clients that we work with, both from a contracting and a permanent role. So, yeah, definitely worth looking at, Finero as a contracting option, if that's what you're looking to do. And I think that's all we have for today. Like as I said, we do a lot of work both for, we see ourselves as candidate advocates in the way we work. So if you are looking to be hired, please, if you don't have your CV yet, do get it into us. Let us know what you're looking for, and we'll be happy to try and help. My details are there. We're all can be reached on LinkedIn, which is probably the easiest. We don't always respond to messages on LinkedIn, but our contact details are there that you can also get us by email, etc. But I'll be honest, I just don't have time to answer all of the messages that come in on LinkedIn. So we prefer that people come in through email, etc. if they can. But thank you very much. Lorna, thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much for having me, Chris.
No problem. And Katie and Darlene, thank you very much as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any further questions, just get in touch after the event. Thanks now. Take care.